Author's Note: The Spirit of Bambatse by H. Rider Haggard. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Spirit of Bambatse, a Romance by H. Rider Haggard, author of She, Aisha, King Solomon's Mines, Alan Quatermain, etc., etc. New York, Longmans, Green and Company, 91 and 93 Fifth Avenue, 1906. Author's Note: It may interest readers of this story to know that its author believes it to have a certain foundation in fact. It was said about 25 or 30 years ago that an adventurous trader, hearing from some natives in the territory that lies at the back of Kilimane the legend of a great treasure buried in or about the 16th century by a party of Portuguese who were afterwards massacred, as a last resource attempted its discovery by the help of a mesmerist. According to this history, the child who was used as a subject in the experiment, when in a state of trance, detailed the adventures and death of the unhappy Portuguese men and women, 2 of whom leapt from the point of a high rock into the Zambesi. Although he knew no tongue but English, this clairvoyant child is declared to have repeated in Portuguese the prayers these unfortunates offered up, and even to have sung the very hymns they sang. Moreover, with much other detail, he described the burial of the great treasure and its exact situation so accurately that the white man and the mesmerist were able to dig for and find the place where it had been, for the bags were gone, swept out by the floods of the river. Some gold coins remained, however, one of them a ducat of Aloysius Mocenigo, Doge of Venice. Afterwards the boy was again thrown into a trance. In all he was mesmerized 8 times, and revealed where the sacks still lay. But before the white trader could renew his search for them, the party was hunted out of the country by natives whose superstitious fears were aroused, barely escaping with their lives. It should be added that, as in the following tale, the chief who was ruling there when the tragedy happened declared the place to be sacred, and that if it were entered, evil would befall his tribe. Thus it came about that for generations it was never violated, until at length his descendants were driven farther from the river by war, and from some of them the white man heard the legend. End of author's note. Chapter 1 of The Spirit of Bambatse by H. Rider Haggard. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Confidences. Beautiful, beautiful was that night. No air stirred. The black smoke from the funnels of the mail steamer Zanzibar lay low over the surface of the sea like vast floating ostrich plumes that vanished one by one in the starlight. Benita Beatrix Clifford, for that was her full name, who had been christened Benita after her mother and Beatrix after her father's only sister, leaning idly over the bulwark rail, thought to herself that a child might have sailed in that sea in a boat of bark and come safely into port. Then a tall man of about 30 years of age, who was smoking a cigar, strolled up to her. At his coming she moved a little, as though to make room for him beside her, and there was something in the motion which, had anyone been there to observe it, might have suggested that these two were upon terms of friendship or still greater intimacy. For a moment he hesitated, and while he did so, an expression of doubt, of distress even, gathered on his face. It was as though he understood that a great deal depended upon whether he accepted or declined that gentle invitation, and knew not which to do. Indeed, much did depend upon it, no less than the destinies of both of them. If Robert Seymour had gone by to finish his cigar in solitude, why then this story would have had a very different ending. Or rather, who can say how it might have ended? The dread foredoomed event with which that night was big would have come to its awful birth, leaving certain words unspoken. Violent separation must have ensued, and even if both of them had survived the terror,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?